Hello, I'm Dr. Jason Fujikawa, host of the BetterPears podcast, the Confederate Reserve, and founder of BetterPears. Wanted to get right in there on the live and not wait to see that it was actually showing up as live because I want some Gen Z street cred opposed to that millennial pause whenever we go on a live stream. So this is our first live stream of the night. Sorry for those who were on earlier, but we had some technical difficulties, but I've gotten through those, I think. I think we're showing through as live on multiple platforms here, just double checking because I'm a little bit nervous about that. And okay, very good. Let's look at the agenda for the evening. So, going to give some updates on BetterPears, on what's going on with the
multiple platforms here, just double checking because I'm a little bit nervous about that.
Sorry about that. I'm getting some feedback. And a few other technical difficulties. Very good. Okay, so updates for tonight. Why BetterPears leaves? A little explanation of what BetterPears leaves is, like why in a sense for BetterPears, why in a sense for potentially you, our viewing audience, for our contributors. We'll also look at our online offerings. We'll look at some in-person activities, what's going on, particularly in the Oklahoma City metro area, where BetterPears is based presently, and then also give our Market Mug giveaway winner. So let's begin. Why BetterPears leaves? I'm going to switch over to the homepage, and if you look at the betterpears.com homepage, you'll see sort of our tagline, better fruit for the human soul, or you deserve better fruit for the human soul. And the whole idea there, the whole kind of meaning of BetterPears is a reference to St. Augustine's Confessions, Book 2, in which he's out late at night in North Africa. He becomes the Bishop of Hippo, but before that, he was a kid, a teenager out late with no good things to do. And what he does with his friends is break into a neighbor's orchard, steal his pears. Right? They didn't enjoy the pears. They didn't eat all the pears. A lot of them went to waste. His reflection later in life after his conversion is thinking about how if he was not with those friends, if he was at home, he could have enjoyed better pears, which he had more of in abundance, and all presumably better friends, or at least his family, in which to do better things, right? And so the kind of analogous corresponding kind of meaning for us today is that there is a lot of fruit out there, a lot of things that are pleasing and enjoyable to us, but are they the things that our soul needs, right? We can have a lot of spectacle, either on our cell phones, on our TV screens, right? Even spectacle in the sense of in-person activities. But after the end of the night, after sitting on the couch or even in a public space, how does it leave you? Does it still resonate with you? Feed your soul, or does it leave you either wanting more or wanting some sort of replacement, right, for that piece of your restless heart? Very sort of Augustinian in that sense. And so BetterPears as a whole is designed to offer sort of the wisdom of our betters, right, in the company of friends. And so this idea of doing it, not seeking out sort of the wisdom of our ancients, those who came before us, whether that be like the church fathers, whether that be sort of the pagan philosophers or playwrights, that there's some sort of wisdom of Western civilization that we seek to wrestle with ourselves, right, directly, and not through the mediation of translators, not through the mediation of teachers and college professors, right, but to just sort of engage the text, the things that they've left behind, immediately. Okay, so back to the homepage. You'll see that the offerings or the work of BetterPears is sort of broken up into three parts, somewhat related to the three ways of life in Aristotle. So on the right, over here, right, ways of support, the practical political, there's sort of a product, something produced, in the terms of the transaction of Federal Reserve notes and money for support for BetterPears, and then also the gift, the thank you gift, gold back that you receive in the mail. In-person activities of the practical political, right, of doing things, of sort of living in the world and interacting with other people in this quest for wisdom. And then online offerings, right, which is sort of very sort of speculative in nature. You do not need to go anywhere. Although largely, I hope you don't operate heavy machinery when listening to the Better Pairs podcast, which includes driving necessarily. The goal of the podcast is to be rich enough and complex so that doing those kinds of behaviors will not be as fruitful as just sort of sitting out and chilling as you listen. Okay. So ways to support Better Pairs leaves. And the idea of a leaf, right, like in a pear tree, is to provide kind of nourishment, energy for the work of the tree and producing the fruit of the tree. And so in that way, Better Pairs Leaves, as our patron program, as our crowdfunding program, is a way to support the ongoing operations of Better Pairs and the kind of the day-to-day cost of doing what we do for all of our offerings. And so that's one aspect of Leaf. The other aspect is for let me switch the camera. It's our first live stream, folks. That in thanks for your contribution of $12 or more a month, you'll receive in the mail a gold back. So a gold back, if you're not familiar, is this is a one gold back is 1,000th, so 1,000 of an ounce of gold, a troy ounce of gold, trapped in 2 layers of polymer, so that it becomes sort of durable and not susceptible to tearing, and it becomes sort of a commodified unit, right? So you'll receive a gold back in the mail for your contribution of $12 or more a month. So the idea with a gold back is that it has its own sort of intrinsic value. If you haven't ever heard of a gold back, the website is goldback.com. You'll see there they track sort of its current market value. I looked yesterday; it was like $5.30, right? So for $12, you get something worth $5.30 back to you, and then the difference of that, minus postage and other kinds of fees, credit card processing fees, is what Better Pairs uses to provide you with episodes of the Better Pairs podcast, with episodes of the Confederal Reserve, with the kind of growing activity in our in-person activities, the fellowships. So that's one thing to think about. We will click over to the page, and you'll see that there are currently 5 states that offer gold backs, and you get kind of a mix of that in each month, unless you come from one of those states or live nearby one of those states, or just really want one state every month. We have the flexibility through our suppliers to provide that for you if you have a particular series, or they say, of gold backs. The 6th series, I believe, has been announced. It will be Florida, and that's been announced for production to begin, or distribution to begin, in early 2025. So congratulations on Florida for getting your own gold back series. They are quite beautiful in their design, kind of outlining various virtues and sort of personification of them. If you are unfamiliar with the Tuttle Twins, there is a short episode of Dark Dumpster Derek Returns that elaborates on why fractional gold is sort of functionally important, but also, again, many of the things of Better Pairs in terms of why we do what we do. It is a 10 to 15 minute podcast. It's a 35 to 45 minute conversation. Not necessarily life-changing in themselves, but the idea of sort of planting that seed crystal, that little thought in your mind about whether it be a classical word, a classical text, or a particular word, right? The idea of looking deeply at one small thing begins to uncover the whole kind of edifice that was trapped beneath the sand, the passage of time. That if one insight can not be unseen, right? When you have that insight, you can't unsee it. And so this idea of owning some form of physical gold in a precious metal sort of format isn't going to save your family from financial ruin, because again, it's worth currently $5.30. But the idea of owning physical gold with its intrinsic worth contained in it is a step, right? That is much different than all the currency you've ever owned, right? Which is a debt obligation, unless you are of a certain age in which the dollars in your wallet were promissory notes with the U.S. Treasury and not Federal Reserve notes backed by nothing, by the full faith and trust or credit of the United States Treasury, right? So this is actual money and not just a currency, not just used for exchange, but has a worth that has been valued, has been recognized by civilizations, by individuals across industrial sectors, commercial sectors for millennia, for thousands and thousands of years. So that's kind of the thought piece of that. And so I kind of cater to perhaps an audience that, hey, might be interested in precious metals and physical gold, but doesn't know really where to get started. This is one way to kind of get your toe in the water. Also, there might be a crowd of people who want to support BetterPears, but kind of want like a cost value kind of appraisal for it. And this might ease them into, oh, well, at least I have a gift to give nieces and nephews or my kids or whatever, stocking stuffers, as Christmas comes around again. So it kind of caters to both of those. And maybe if you connect those two ideas, we got a patron here. Also, there might be a limited number of you who, man, I really want to support Dr. Fujikawa and the work of BetterPears, but I'm not too sure about this gold thing. You can put that you don't want to receive the gold back if that's that's a thing for you. You're not compelled to receive them, although all of our contributors do enjoy receiving them as we get in the feedback every month. So again, they're also sent to you in the mail. So you might be worried about sending gold through the mail. Part of the genius of that was that all the gold in Fort Knox was sent to Fort Knox, not through armored cars, not through the military, but through the U.S. Postal Service, right? It runs flat. It is not detectable by metal detectors. It pretty much blends right into the paper kind of update newsletter that you get every month from BetterPears, kind of outlining what the current month's offerings are and the schedule. So we're excited to be offering BetterPears leaves. We hope you prayerfully discern whether that's right for you. And if you are so inclined, right, there are links kind of scattered throughout the betterpears.com/leaves page. There's a key steps, pretty much 3 steps. The 4th step is repeat, because I'm inspired by shampoo bottles. And also some frequently asked questions. So one of the questions, what can I do with a gold back? It's a good question. And so there is sort of a street value. Coin dealers, precious metal dealers, pawn shops, right, are becoming more aware of gold backs. They're, again, total twins, right? But if all that fails, right, BetterPears itself, in our in-person gatherings, will offer credit at the value of that day published at goldback.com for your registrations at any of our events, which effectively makes the gold back the gift card of BetterPears. So as a startup business, that's pretty exciting that we have a snazzy intrinsic value gift card that can be used at any of our in-person events. Take that, Starbucks. Okay. And let's see, other important questions. We will work with you with any kind of errors or any kind of difficulties you might have. If some might wonder whether your contribution to BetterPears is tax deductible. No, it is not. So BetterPears is an LLC. It is a for-profit enterprise. And also with that, your gifts, your contributions will not be tax deductible. Given that this is in the $12+ range, that might not be of significance to you. As we are not a nonprofit, it does allow us to espouse views which might not be tolerated under the rules and regulations involved with non-profit entities. And so BetterPears remains free to communicate across platforms and host and platform, right, and host guests and hosts who may have the freedom of speech to say things which the kind of the religion or norms of the day find unappealing. And so that sort of freedom is important to the work of Better Pairs. And let's see, and ultimately, right? Yes, if inflation goes crazy, yes, then we might need to adjust the cost of the gold backs. And so get in now is all I can say about that. The ultimate end of this is that we're asking you to trust us. Your magic digits in your credit card or debit card statement or whatever coming to us, and then at the end of the month, within sort of the first week of the month, the gold backs go out into the mail across the country. You have to be in the country to receive the gold back. We do not send gold backs internationally, so do keep that in mind, our international viewers. That this program is not for you, but we do thank you for your support, both currency and attention. Okay, moving on back to the homepage. That's our Better Pairs Leaves. There's also a way to underwrite the a particular episode of the Better Pairs podcast, which will give you the opportunity to give a dedication to someone important to your life to kind of memorialize them in one of the episodes of the Better Pairs podcast. So there's more information there in our CSA, our community-supported analysis, similar to community-supported agriculture, right? We're keeping the pear theme and the arboreal theme going. Better Pairs Market is where the Better Pairs swag is hosted. So this is our print-on-demand marketplace. If you visit the market, you will see that we have mugs, we have shirts, and some of them might be gold-themed shirts, and other sorts of items branded for Better Pairs. We'll take a look at some of these mugs as well in the next few minutes. So those are sort of like the product side of the Better Pairs website. We'll move to our online offerings, so we'll kind of bounce back out to our agenda. So we'll look at our online offerings and then what's going on in Oklahoma City, the Oklahoma City metro area, with our in-person activities. Okay, so online offerings. Better Pairs Preserves is sort of the blog version of the Better Pairs podcast. If you click on this link, you'll be taken to sort of what looks like a traditional kind of blog setting. Included in there are some blog posts about things going on in the Confederal Reserve. But take a look at architecture, our latest episode from the Better Pairs podcast. And we see a beautiful sort of picture of, I believe that's Il Duomo in Florence. I might be wrong about that. But the meat, the essay portion of the Better Pairs podcast is included here for your reading pleasure. And also there is the audio available here, in which you hear the Dvorak New World Symphony playing right at the beginning of the Better Pairs podcast. The announcements for the Better Pairs podcast are not written down here. They are available on podcast platforms. The links to those platforms are here on the page. But the idea is that some people are more oral learners, some people are more visual learners. Technically, the best learning is done with the multiplicity of senses, right? So we don't have smell-o-vision yet. Sorry, I don't know. Maybe your computer does. The Apple's doing wonderful things. But if you're having distractions, if the episode's not necessarily landing, things are confusing, I might mispronounce a word or pronounce a word in a way different than you pronounce a word. I say it quickly with confidence, and sometimes there's disputed pronunciations, or it's a weird word and it's a Greek word, or it's some French or whatever word that you would like to kind of visually see. Great effort is taken to also present this in a textual format. And so if you find it easier to read along as I speak along in the podcast, this is set up for you. There's sometimes very helpful sort of images that go along with it, sometimes questionable images. I do like to sometimes throw some zingers there. Also, any kind of hyperlink references will be available on the textual form here on the Better Pairs website under the Better Pairs Preserves link. So again, I wanted to make a podcast that looked at the meaning of words beyond what you would get in a dictionary, right? If you're a listener of the Better Pairs podcast, You might know that the sort of the enemy or the villain of the podcast is what I call Big Lexi, the lexicography cartel, the organizations who print and publish and manufacture, distribute dictionaries and lexicon that give us this false sense that we know the meaning of words in sort of a one sentence kind of definition. Because it's been my own experience sort of professionally and personally throughout sort of my study of languages, my lived experience that words are richer to us. They come with baggage, right? In one episode, we talk about scars, right? That a word might have. And so, the Better Pairs podcast is a way of just sort of taking a beat, taking a moment, stepping back, sitting. You're not using heavy machinery. You're just kind of sitting, maybe folding laundry. That's your thing, and having sort of 10 minutes, 15 minutes, not a long podcast, to reflect on a word, a series of words, its various parts. That you might agree with those insights. Some of the insights are very sort of speculative, like they phonetically make sense, but we don't have necessarily a textual roadmap to how these two terms are connected. But there's something about how they're said, they're spoken. Some of that's linguistics that connects them, and it makes sense that they connect them. So they're sort of speculative in that sense. So it's a level of thinking that I found is something I do very well as a professional, as a scholar, as one of my gifts that I can share. And hopefully, if you enjoy the Better Pairs podcast, it's something that you find helpful, insightful, and worth your time and energy to sort of go along the journey with me. So thank you for listening. There's been sort of an increase in listenership and downloads of the podcast. And so that's a very exciting and encouraging as someone putting together kind of, drafting and editing and producing, sort of speaking forth these episodes. A lot of time and energy and thought and sort of risk goes into making those, and then seeing them get downloaded. Your comments, your likes are really appreciated, and so thank you again for being an audience, right? Your patronage of Federal Reserve notes, with the support and Better Pairs leaves, but also your payment of attention, and it's something as a sort of an author, someone producing things that I really do enjoy and just want to express now my thanks, my gratitude. Okay, so after the podcast, right, both as written and in audio format, there are various links scattered throughout the web page for sort of major podcast platforms. The Confederal Reserve exists as a playlist within the Better Pairs channel on YouTube and Rumble. And so that is a series of interviews with old friends and former colleagues who have, I as the host have personally, encountered in my years, and the whole topic is for the guest to select a classical work that's important to him or her, and to explain why it's important. Right? I call it the gimmick we want you to mimic. In a certain sense, it's two friends or colleagues who are talking about ancient wisdom, right, or classical wisdom. Something that just kind of gnaws at you, and it's something that you're encouraged as the audience to replicate in your own life, right? How often do you meet with family and friends, relatives? That, I guess that's technically family, and you don't have anything to talk about, right? So just like I have to schedule these conversations with the guests of the show, just kind of scheduling with that wise person in your family, that friend, that colleague who always kind of had interesting thoughts about things, and asking, hey, I watch this show, they do this thing, maybe we could do this thing too sometime, right? It kind of models what a conversation about the true, the good, and the beautiful is. And it's been a great joy for me to welcome old friends and former colleagues onto the show to kind of, right, rekindle that relationship, and to kind of also talk about perennial questions, talk about things that I wouldn't say keep you up at night, but like boggle the mind while you're waiting for a bus, right? While you're waiting for your kid to come out, pick up a school or whatever. Things that in those sort of like down moments of life where all of a sudden this thing from school, this work that you once encountered, comes back at you, and you wonder how it applies and what its implications are. Like that's what this podcast is about. And so I'm very excited to be continuing to host those episodes on the Better Pairs podcast. I did realize, yes, that I did not switch back over, but the Confederal Reserve links for all of the offerings, the online offerings, and then links to the in-person and the support features of Better Pairs are available in the description of this live stream. So head on down there afterwards to get connected. Again, everything is hosted at betterpairs.com. Okay, now on to the meat. Our in-person activities. We have greenhouse fellowships. So technically there are Better Pairs fellowships, and that's reading ancient texts in the original language. So think Latin and Greek. But greenhouses are where kind of saplings of starter plants kind of get their start. It's kind of a controlled environment. And so since Better Pairs since Latin or Greek are not sort of the national language of the United States, and technically no language is the national language of the United States, we have decided to go with an English classical author, William Shakespeare. Our greenhouse fellowships are taking the plays of William Shakespeare and reading them right in community, in person, with the sort of the fresh pears, always fresh pears. Coffee, tea, some refreshments. Light refreshments kind of have different scales of intensity to them, but it isn't so much like food. It's a matter of just sort of offering comfort and quiet and the ability to engage a text in the company of others to discuss afterwards. So there's various videos sort of explaining our greenhouse fellowships, our open greenhouse fellowships, and our movement here in the fall to get more people involved with our fellowships. But we actually are finishing Much Ado About Nothing tomorrow night. So 22 hours or so from now, we'll be hosting the dramatic closing. If you are in the Oklahoma City area, you are an adult or 18 or over, you are welcome to register and join us for the evening. There is no kind of ticket booth at the door. You have to register earlier online. So please consider that. And it basically works like once we're gathered around the table, you've received, something to drink, something, some pears to eat, maybe some scones. We will do the selection of the characters. So you have at the beginning of every kind of Shakespeare play, you have the list of the characters. So some characters are more major, some characters are more minor. The sheet that you receive has all the number of lines for that character in all their scenes that they appear available to you. And you're able to select your character based in that selection process is based, on the order of your registration, right? So it encourages you to register early in order to get sort of first round draft pick in the fantasy football of Shakespearean drama. And so we gamify the selection of characters a little bit. It's good fun. Anyway, after those are selected, we basically begin the play and do a dramatic reading. So we don't act it out, but you can sort of dramatize your voice, trying to kind of give the best sort of performance of what is presented to us in the text of Shakespeare. And in that way, Shakespeare comes alive, not as it would if we were acting it out, if we kind of prepared, we had props, we had stage direction and that kind of thing. But sort of the plot and the dramatic kind of core of the play does come alive in the reading, in the communal dramatic participatory reading that we have together. And again, that happens. Sorry about that. That happens in the course of the evening, and sorry about that. I'm getting an unexpected call. As we progress through the play, there will be breaks at the end of acts. There will be short discussions in between acts, but then at the end of the evening, there's a continued discussion with the guide, who is sort of orchestrating it all, right? And so the idea is not so much that you're going to a class, right? This is not a class; it's a fellowship. That the guide is not a teacher, but that the guide is someone who has trod this path before. right? And is knowledgeable, can answer questions, but can also ask you what you think the answer to the question is. Can steer kind of the fellowship in helpful ways, so that the guide is not the information kiosk. The guide is there to guide, right? To kind of take whatever energy in questions and redirect it in ways that are fruitful for the group as a whole. And so, yes, the course of the fellowship is directed, or primarily directed, to the reading of the text, and yet there is fruitful discussion that does admit of tangents, but stays sort of focused on some of the core themes of each of the halves of the play. Again, a Shakespeare play is 5 acts. We do about 2.5 in one session, and 1 2-hour session. And that allows for an interesting thing where the play kind of freezes after the first week, after the first session, and it kind of lingers with you in the course of the next week until the next session, right? And that pause is somewhat intentional. That pause allows kind of the play to sit. We get to the point where there's like the main sort of action or drama or tragedy or plot kind of element has been revealed but not resolved, right? And so the ability to kind of just wait in that unresolved state is, I think, also helpful and part of kind of the allure of the fellowship as well. So, okay, that explains sort of our in-person offerings. Again, if you are, gotta navigate the homepage. If you would like to register, it's very easy to click. You click through, it links to the videos, kind of explaining everything, more information. The process, you basically set up an account with BetterPears, and our account and our payment processing is facilitated by Stellar Web Systems, so stellarwebsystems.com, and that's why you'll see that in the URL. And so it is that your data is protected, and your transaction is secure through the assistance of Stellar Web Systems. So we're thankful for our work with them. So we have a fellowship tomorrow night. Also next week, starting Wednesday, we'll be reading Romeo and Juliet, which is our sort of first tragedy. Everything seems to be ending with weddings, and all of a sudden now everybody's dead. Sorry, spoiler alert, but it's Shakespeare, so not spoiler alert. And then we have actually a complete drama in 3.5 hours. We'll be reading A Midsummer Night's Dream at the beginning of October, on Saturday, October 5th. And so that will not have the little midway point waiting period involved there. So that's something we're trying to see if doing a whole play in 3.5 hours is suitable for people as well. Okay. So we're kind of moving through our agenda here. We have our market mug giveaway. And so before we do that directly, we'll kind of look at some of the mugs. Right now I'm drinking green tea out of one of our mugs, and it's 11 ounces. This is our Stop Big Lexi mug, right? So hashtag Stop Big Lexi. The Lexicography Cartel. I'm fairly confident I'm the only person using the Stop Big Lexi mug. If you follow the hashtag Go Big Lexi, is some man doing some dancing. So we have yet to be asked whether we are pro Go Big Lexi, and we're going to make the statement that no, we are Stop Big Lexi, including that meme about the guy doing the breakdancing. Okay. We have the Foc difficilia cole purum. Sorry, the lighting is glaring a little bit. Foc difficilia, do difficult things. Foc in the imperative, difficilia the neuter plural, right? Do difficult things, cole purum. Cole from colo, colore, colui, cultus. To grow, right? You get the word colony, right? Cultivate. Grow, purum, a word for pear tree or simply a pear. So do difficult things, grow a pear, which might sound and mean different things in different phonetic arrangements and linguistic arrangements. The mug I'll show. This is the Rhododactylos, right? Hos. The early-born rosy-fingered dawn appeared line in Homer's Iliad and Odyssey is kind of graced along the lip of this mug, and it's one of those lines. If you've ever kind of read the Greek of Homer, or even just read translation, he just uses it because the meter fits, and it's a great sort of like introduction to a new day, a new scene in the epic poem. And so it also has the citation references. Sorry, I got to get that close. Nope, this is going to glare even more. It has all the citation references. There's 2 references in the Iliad. There are many, many more in the Odyssey. And so it is that's probably one of our more nerdy mugs, but also beloved on account of its nerdiness. So you can take a look at the Better Pairs Market. The link is on, again, the homepage for BetterPears.com. Okay, so our market mug giveaway winner will either win one of those mugs and have it sent to his or her address, or any of the other mugs, the 11-ounce mugs on the Better Pairs Market webpage. So that's exciting. We're going to switch to the Wheel of Names. Got to adjust slightly the Wheel of Names here. Okay, yes, the Wheel of Names. There we go. Aha. Okay. So this again, for the Market Mug giveaway, every monthly contribution wins another entry for those who are patrons with Better Pairs Leaves, and that's retroactive to when we started Better Pairs Leaves back in March of 2024. It's also no purchase is necessary. So if you go to the official rules at betterpairs.com/giveaway, you can read the official rules. There's a way to enter into this contest if you're eligible with no purchase necessary. So that's always exciting. And I do encourage it, because if you're excited enough to do that, like, we want you to be a listener. We want you involved with Better Pairs. So again, no purchase necessary, but the easiest way perhaps for you is to become a contributor to Better Pairs. And we are grateful for our contributors. And so we're going to spin the wheel, and that winner is going to be the recipient of the August Market Mug giveaway mug. Here we go. Jason M. from Middleton, Virginia. Congratulations to the winner of the August Market Mug giveaway mug. We'll be in contact with you about your mug selection. We're very honored and excited to have you as one of our patrons, one of our contributors to Better Pairs, and congratulations on the giveaway win. And that will wrap it up for our live stream tonight. Sorry for the delay in getting the live stream going. We worked out some technical details. Again, gratitude for our Better Pairs Leaves patrons and contributors for all of your contributions, your payment of Federal Reserve notes, your payment of attention in the various offerings of Better Pairs. We're excited to continue to offer better fruit for the human soul to those near to us in Oklahoma City and those far away through the wonder of the internet. Thank you, and have a good night. God bless.